Hey guys, it is Blacktop here, and I'm bringing you today a video about two or three different things, but they all kind of have to do with each other. So if at any point in the video you want to kind of skip ahead to a different sort of section of the video, if you're disinterested or anything like that, you are, absolutely free to do so, of course. I mean, heck, you're free to do so anyway without me telling you. Anyway, so the video today is going to be about Extreme Force, both the regular set and the special edition, the ban list, and something I learned from this. So let's get started. So Extreme Force was the pack that was officially released today, I believe, in North America. Yep. And we also got a ban list today. It'll start on February 6th. This is the new ban list right here. We'll go over that a little bit later. But I'm going to talk about Extreme Force first of all. So as you know, or maybe know already, Extreme Force is a bit of a lackluster set, except for the OCG imports. And the OCG imports, well, and the TCG exclusives, I guess. But the OCG imports are like 9 of the cards from the Link Vrains pack in the OCG, which we did not get. And a lot of people, including me, were very disappointed about that. We missed out on a really good chance at having cheaper versions of Heavy Metal Foes Electromite, which a lot of Pendulum Magicians players play, and it drove up the price of that. I think they're sitting around 70-some bucks right now, but they might go down, and that has to do with the ban list, but like I said, talk about that later. And of course, they had the most insulting card of all time to be added to the imports, Scramble Egg. People, including me, are not too happy about that. So, basically the thing saving the set is, of course, some of the Link Vrains pack imports. The FA cards are really good too. A bunch of people have been trying those out and making really good, really neat, interesting decks out of those. So that's another part. And also, I think Saryuja Scoldred, or previously known as Scoldeat, the Chain Draco Serpent. Where is it at? Should be. Yeah, where is that? Okay, it's here somewhere. I'm probably, yeah, Saryuja Scoldred. So this is one of the best cards from Extreme Force. In addition to Heavy Metal Foes Electromite, there's some other good ones too. It includes some other support like Mech Knights and Tin Dangles and things like that. But anyway, so that's what I'm going to talk about there. Now, also recently we found out that the Extreme Force Special Edition, which will be coming out the 23rd of March, has some really good cards in the special edition. So the two we want to look at are Psyframe Gear Gamma and From Flames of Destruction, Called by the Grave, or Designator from the Grave, which I guess is officially being called by the Grave. But anyway, so Psyframe Gear Gamma is basically the hand trap that negates hand traps. So cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned by a card effect, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. During either player's turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect while you control no monsters, you can special summon both this card from your hand and one Psyframe Driver from your hand, deck, or graveyard, and if you do, negate the activation, and if you do that, destroy the monster. So basically, if you're trying to search a card, or you're adding a card from your deck to hand, or you're trying to make a play, and your opponent activates an Ash Blossom, or Max C, but I mean technically not Max C anymore. We'll get to that, like I said. But anyway, if your opponent activates a hand trap and you don't control anything, you can use this to negate the activation of the hand trap. The downside to this card, though, is that you have to have a Psyframe Driver in your hand, deck, or graveyard, and that's sort of like a Garnet, I guess. If you know the analogy between Brilliant Fusion and Gem Knight Garnet, this is basically Brilliant Fusion, and the driver is the Garnet. Unless, of course, you are playing a Psyframe specific deck, in which case, I mean, you probably want to be running it. So anyway, so that's Psyframe Gear Gamma. Pretty good card. It's still pretty expensive. I don't know what it's sitting around, but the reprint will really help for that. But more importantly is Designator from the Grave. Now this is a card coming out in Flames of Destruction, and it says target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, banish it, and if you do, monsters with the same original name as that banished monster have their effects negated until the end of the turn. So this is basically the hand trap stopper. I mean, you can use it in other situations, but people immediately think of hand traps when they think of this. So for example, if your opponent is going to Ash Blossom you, your opponent has to discard that card to the graveyard in order to activate its effect. Well, what you do is you chain Designator from the Grave to that activation, and since the Ash Blossom is in the graveyard, you banish the Ash Blossom from the graveyard, and its effects are negated because, well, if you banish the monster, monsters with the same original name, so including itself, as that banished monster, have their effects negated until the end of the next turn. Now, I will say, you cannot use your own Ash Blossom during your opponent's turn if you activate this card. This is but this is still a good sort of defense against hand traps. So that's why people are really excited about that, because people were originally thinking that it was going to be like a really pricey secret rare from Flames of Destruction. It probably will be. It might. I don't know. I don't think the promos are usually high rarity cards from the next set, but who knows? This might be. But anyways, it's still really good that it's coming out in the special edition. This might be Extreme Force's saving grace, and this sort of ties in with the next part of the video. So, like I said, in Extreme Force, it has the Link Vrains pack, some of the cards from that, imported into the TCG, except, of course, for this stupid, like just spit in the eye of the players card right here. And the saving grace of the set was Heavy Metal Foes Electromite and Saryuja Scoldred, aka Scoldeat, as well as some of the FA cards. And the Extreme Force Special Edition might actually sell this set a little bit more. Of course, Konami's already physically made Extreme Force boxes and packs and stuff, so they can't exactly take those away. But in order to sell more cards from the same sort of set, the Special Edition will really help because of its reprints and its promos. Now, I will say though, this might be one of the decisions Konami's made that is a little bit confusing. And I say confusing because it's not like a stupid decision or a malicious decision, like, I don't know, not importing a Link Vrains pack into the TCG or putting Scramble Egg at the end of Extreme Force. No, this is just confusing. Okay, so if you're trying to sell your set Extreme Force, and granted, they're definitely selling it because people are going after Heavy Metal Foes Electromite, and of course Saryuja Scoldred or Scoldeat. Why would you put on your ban list 2 of the core cards from Pendulum Magicians? I think, did they get one limited too? No, I don't think they limited one. But I don't know why you would do that. I mean, of course they did hit Spirals a little bit, limiting Spiral Resort. But anyway, why would you do that? I don't know. It doesn't make much sense to me from a business perspective, because if they're going to be selling Extreme Force, whose main selling point is most likely Heavy Metal Foes Electromite, and then they want to go on and sell Extreme Force Special Edition, and then they hit Pendulum Magicians this hard, it doesn't make much sense. Now, of course, you can probably tell I'm a little upset that they hit Pendulum Magicians. It is actually a deck that I've invested time and money in, and I was going to be playing it at a couple of upcoming regionals, and now I don't really know where to go with the deck. It's nowhere near as consistent as it is before. And it's less powerful because of that. I kind of want to go on the defensive about Pendulum Magicians. This isn't really part of what I wanted to talk about, but I think Pendulum Magicians are a deck that, before the ban list, they were very consistent, but they weren't powerful. Like, they could make a big board, but the big board, like, wouldn't negate your stuff or wouldn't destroy your monsters or anything like that. It was just putting bodies on board to attack. Now, of course, depending on the build, that could be altered a little bit, but ultimately they were hit because of their consistency. And pretty much nothing else, because, I mean, the cards didn't do anything to interact with your opponent's play. Double Iris didn't do anything to your opponent. Where's this other one at? Performer Pal Skullcrab Joker didn't do anything to your opponent. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, so the ban list is another thing that I'm a little confused as why Konami dropped a ban list hitting a really good portion, or really important, crucial part of Pendulum Magicians when they really want to sell Extreme Force with Heavy Metal Foes Electromite. It doesn't make sense to officially release a set with one of the best cards to be in the Pendulum Magician deck and release a ban list that crucifies the Pendulum Magician deck on the same day. Now, maybe crucifies is a little extreme, but anyways, they still hit it pretty well. But I'm going to go through some of the other cards on the ban list, I guess, too. So if you skipped ahead in the video and are joining us now, here's the ban list, and here's some of my thoughts on it. So, go through the Big Shadow, of course. Yes, this was good. I mean, well, you get like an instant, or you get a Firewall off of that. Sometimes get a Scoldeat. So yeah, there shouldn't be any one card like go into 4 Link monsters combos. It's kind of ridiculous. Dandelion, that's of course with the Plant Link combos and stuff like that, which are probably going to be coming to the TCG sometime soon whenever we get the Plant Link monster. Unless that came out in Extreme Force, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the desire to look right now. Double Iris Magician, of course, that's the Pendulum Magician that searches the Pendulum Graphs and is ultimately a huge consistency booster in the deck, because Pendulum Graphs are also, or the Star Pendulum Graph is a huge consistency booster, so that goes hand in hand with that. Level Eater, this is also part of like the whole link spam idea. Basically, since link monsters don't rely on monsters having a specific level, they just use their decks will just use this card and abuse it and get more links out and more and more and more. Max C. Now this is an interesting one. I don't know how I feel about this. I thought Max C was fine where it was at, but maybe I'm wrong. But Max C's out. Decks are going to be a little less consistent now. They can't plus off of their opponent making crazy boards. I mean, I don't feel too strongly about this card, but I know it hurts a little bit because there are a couple of times where you open Max C and you kind of want to get the pluses off of it, but whatever. It's whatever. Like I said, Profile Skullcrab Joker, of course, doesn't matter to me. And I think there's nothing down here. It looks like. Okay, so Towers is coming back to 1. Is that gonna improve Cleaport decks? I mean, I don't know. I'm not really I don't really know anything about Cleaports, but Towers is like a crazy boss monster for them. So if they can do well and pull this and make this thing and pull off a couple of wins, I mean, more power to them. Grinder Golem is limited as well. It was a 3. I think this is definitely a good move. Of course, Grinder Golem is kind of the same as Gofu, where you can basically get a Scold Eat first turn. Again, not really fair. Now, Performance Damage Juggler is at 1, and I don't think I have this tab up here. Let me go. Let me look it up. Performance Damage Juggler. This is an interesting card. Yeah, Damage Juggler right here. Okay, so Performance Damage Juggler. Basically, it's got a long effect. But during either player's turn, when a card effect is activated that would inflict damage to you, you can discard this card, negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card. During either player's battle phase, you can discard this card, reduce the next battle damage you take to start to 0. You can banish this card from your graveyard, add 1 Performance monster from your deck to your hand, except Damage Juggler. You can only use this effect of Damage Juggler once per turn. Basically, you'd use this card, I believe, although I'm not entirely certain, with these other Performapal cards like Plush Fire and Monkey Board. I'm not really sure about the whole deck, but that's it. That's what it sort of revolves around. Now, I am kind of surprised they didn't take. People were really hoping Construct would come off the list, and as well as maybe Shuret going to 1, but that didn't happen. Let's just keep going here. So Damage Juggler. Oh, Fireball Dragon's limited. I thought this was an interesting choice. I guess it's kind of fair. I mean, it's still at 1. People are still going to make it. It's still going to be a pretty good Link monster. But I do believe this is like one of the first limited monsters that was like a main protagonist ace monster. So that's an interesting piece of trivia right there for you. Monster Reborn. This is a really popular one. Although a lot of people are saying that it's not going to make that much of a difference. I don't really know. I mean, we have Soul Charge, which basically is like Monster Reborn, but with 1,000 cost and no battle phase. This could be good in some decks, maybe mirror matches, possibly, in any deck that can't really, or that has a heavy life point cost on things and really needs to use Monster Reborn, or those decks that have a 1 of Call of the Haunted, they can replace that with this. So it's pretty interesting to see Monster Reborn coming back. It's been on the list for a while, and we'll see how much of an impact it makes. Spiral Resort, that's going to 1, that's going to really hurt Spirals. Now, I don't have much to say about that. And Solemn Judgment is coming back, and we can look up this one too. This is a really good card. When people make deck profiles and say, oh, and we're going to include the Solemn Brigade, it's changing, and I'll tell you why. So Solemn Brigade is when a monster will be summoned or a spell trap card is activated, pay half your life points, negate the summoner activation, and if you do, destroy that card. So what's good about this card is, of course, that you can negate almost anything except monster effects, and you can always pay life points to activate this card. Now, if you're really low on life points, you'll be getting down there to where you're paying, 500, 250, 125. I don't know, does it go into 25s or whatever? I don't know. But I've never gone that far down. So, Solemn Judgment's coming back. People are playing it as a 1 of. So I don't know. Interesting thing going on there. Let's see what else we got. Semi-limited, nothing's changed. Okay, now these are no longer on the list. Let's take a look at these. So Morale Tack is off the list. BLS is off the list. I mean, not many people are playing it. Card Trooper's off. Ryo's off. Bryonics off the list because nobody's playing it. Brain Control because it's errata and nobody plays it. Elshadov Fusion's off the list. Future Fusion, Mind Control, Preparation of Rites, Sacrifice. All of these are gone right here. Even Bottomless and Torrential. And these are some of the most important ones. People are thinking about playing torrentials and Cosmo decks. I think that'd be a really good tech, maybe as a, I don't know, 3 of. I don't know if you put that in the 3 of. I'll have to do some play testing, but because I really want to play a Cosmo deck now that I'm not going to be playing Pendulum Magicians. And that brings me to the next part of this video. So if you're joining now or you skipped ahead to this part, this is the lesson that I learned from all of this, and this is sort of the conclusion of the video. Hopefully this won't take too long. Anyway, what I've learned from all this is I don't think because of my financial situation, I'm not well-to-do or anything, but I'm not dirt poor. But I'm in college right now, and I have bills to pay for. I have to, pay for college, pay for food and things like that, and stuff that I need. And ultimately, um, spending a lot of money and time on building meta decks that will inevitably get hit by the ban list. I even though they can be really fun, like I really liked Pendulum Magicians, I built them. It's just not worth it, I don't think. So I think from now on, if I'm going to be playing competitively, I'm going to be playing a rogue strategy. So I'm going to the Indianapolis Regional in a couple of weeks, or next week actually, and I think I might play my Cosmo deck. I'm not sure, but it sounds like a good idea to me. I'll have to do some playtesting online, of course, but I think that's going to be the best solution, I think. But there are always going to be those people who are willing to spend lots of money buying the best meta decks and ultimately being disappointed when they get hit. And you know what? That's great. If people want to play meta decks and win events, that's great. That's how people have fun. I mean, everybody likes to win, or at least I think so. Um, and that's how they have fun. I have fun, playing the game, even if I don't win. I still, learn a little bit how to be a better player, and I still have fun, I don't know, playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think this is a good lesson to teach me. It's going to help me not spend as much money on this game, this silly game, where pieces of cardboard cost $70 and up. Yeah, it's not worth the money, for me at least. If I had more money, yeah, sure, I'd probably, indulge in the meta. But anyways, that's my view. That's my sort of wrap up of the Extreme Force, the ban list, and a lesson learned. Hopefully you guys found this video enjoying. I had a great time talking to you guys today. Please, leave your thoughts and comments down in the comment section below, and give me a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thank you. This is Blacktop signing off.